My birth name is Reese Byfield. So before I converted to Islam, so my mum is a English lady. She comes from a Christian background. She believes in something, but she's not a member of an organized religion. As for my father, he comes from a Punjabi background. He comes from a Sikh Punjabi background. So my kind of background was a sort of very much a liberalism focused household. So just with that background. And when I was about 15, I started looking into religions, but in a nutshell, I always had a general sense of God, but wasn't a member of a religion. So what kind of led me towards Islam was my search for different religions. I'll look into kind of the oldest religions. I'll look into, the Egyptian belief system. I looked into Hinduism. I looked into Judaism. Islam was the last thing to be looked at. I kind of come from a background that was quite hostile towards Islam. It was a very Islamophobic background. And it was only until I had a Muslim friend who, they didn't give me da'wah. They had zero interest in giving me da'wah in the sense of they didn't think I'd be receptive to it because of that background. But they just said to me once, why don't you read the Quran? And I was like, why not? I looked into everything at this point and thought, why not? I'll give this a go. And I remember reading the Quran. I read Surah Fatiha. This is the same as any other kind of holy book. There's a guy, God, and he's asserting his authority over everyone. What's the difference between this and the other religions? However, when I started reading the Quran and I read it every day, I started really building an attachment with it. Its simplicity, its style, the way it got to the point, and its message was clear. Morals of the story and the message and the laws that were being discussed were so clear and were just pure common sense. Commonsensical nature of what Allah, God Most High, was telling us to do. The fact that it just made pure sense. And that's what really drew me in. So in essence, it was the Quran. After I'd read the Quran, I essentially believed in Islam. And I called my friend and said, I need to become Muslim now. Now. I don't want to die and not be Muslim. And he's like, just call me tomorrow. I'm like, no, now. Cool. Have a shower. We're going to my uncle's house. And then his uncle was there, my friend was there, and his two aunties were there. So I done my Shahada with his aunties, my friend, his uncle, and some people from Somalia on Skype. I took my Shahada just after my 17th birthday, which was in October, which basically gives me a full year before Ramadan comes. So when Ramadan came along, it was quite difficult. I didn't know about fasting and prayer. I'd had, a year to kind of learn these things. But it was difficult because my parents didn't know I was Muslim. So I kept it a secret from them. And it stayed a secret for roughly 2 years. I didn't have a job. I couldn't buy any food for myself because I didn't really have any money. There was just no halal food in the house. They'd be cooking food, haram food for me, and I couldn't eat it. It wasn't so difficult in terms of prayer because I used to be out all the time anyway, so I just went to the mosque and stayed there until Isha and came home. But the food was a problem. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anything to eat. When I went to the masjid for Maghrib and ate some dates and crisps or whatever was there, it's actually quite embarrassing how someone found out, right? So what happened was, there was a person who was like, why are you always going to do wudu so much? Why don't you just go to the toilet and think? Because I was praying Taraweeh and like going to do wudu like every other like second unit, right? I'm like, basically, and obviously this brother's really pressing me, so I'm like, basically, I can't go to the toilet because I'm not eating, and I don't have anything to go toilet with because I don't have any halal food. And this brother who was involved in the masjid, he owned a restaurant. He was like, come to the masjid to eat. I started eating there every now and then. And naturally, Ramadan is an incredibly lonely time for converts because they don't have anyone around them. My advice for a new Muslim coming to Ramadan would be, obviously, there is an obligation on people to support you. You have to get out there. It's your job as well to connect with people. So connect with people, discuss things, see if there's any friends that you have that are Muslim, connect with them, pace yourself. It's a long journey to build yourself up, to build your iman up, and also to cleanse yourself of past habits and behaviors. The additional things that are taking place in Ramadan: focus on your fast, focus on developing a relationship with Allah, fasting and dua.